Oh, hi there. Thanks for joining. Why am I wearing this mask, you ask? Well, you can never be too careful. As you probably remember in my last video, I visited Palmetto Gaming in Summerville, South Carolina, and I ended up picking up a few games. So today I figured I'd go over some of the games I picked up. To begin with, I got the Final Fantasy X-X2 HD Remaster for the PS3. This was only $8 when I picked it up, and it has this really nice art book case. Whoops. Try that again. Our bookcase has some of the artwork and illustrations from the game. So it's actually really nice. So yeah, it's in really, really good condition. I knew I was gonna get the remaster at some point or another, and for $8 in that good condition, just couldn't pass it up. So as you may already know, this includes Final Fantasy X and X2. It's just been HD remastered. Now the first Final Fantasy X did come out on PlayStation 2 in Japan in July 2001, in North America a few months later in December 2001. But they actually released an international version in Japan only in January 2002. And Final Fantasy X2 did a similar thing. It came out on the PS2 in Japan on March 2003, so 2 years after the first game. Then in North America, we got it in November 2003. And then they went ahead and made an international version of that game, which was Japan only, in February 2004. This one has been HD remastered, has been released for the PS3, the Vita, the PS4, the Switch, the One, and PC. This version came out in December 2013 in Japan, and then in North America, it came out in March of 2014. I'm sure many of you have actually played the original ones, or even this version, or have, seen enough about them to get the idea of what they're about. But there's probably some of you who haven't, so I'll go through a brief little summary of both games. In Final Fantasy X, a huge beast named Sin destroys Zanarkand, the home of Tidus. Auron whisks Tidus away to join the summoner Yuna. Yuna is on a pilgrimage to defeat Sin and bring about the calm. Final Fantasy X is the first in the Final Fantasy series to feature voice acting. There's a conditional turn-based battle system. The CTB system is a turn-based format that pauses during the player's turn. There's also a graphical timeline on screen which shows whose turn is up next and how the ordering will be affected by the various actions. You have 3 characters in a fight at one time, but you can easily swap a character out for another one mid-battle. As you may already know, many of the Final Fantasy games have various leveling systems, and a new one for this one is called the Sphere Grid, where you get ability points and you unlock stat boosts and abilities, etc. through a visual grid system. Like many other Final Fantasy titles, there are many games you can play. Final Fantasy X received really high ratings. Final Fantasy X-2 takes place 2 years after the events of the first game. During the Great Calm, Yuna is now a sphere hunter and is joined by her 2 friends, Riku and Pain. Together they form a group called the Gullwings, who hunt spheres in order to find clues about a mysterious person who looks a lot like Tidus. And in doing so, they uncover a political plot that could destroy the planet. Now the cool thing about Final Fantasy X-2, or X2, is that this is the first direct sequel in the video game form in the Final Fantasy series. It also has the first all-female cast, as well as the first to only have 3 playable characters. It moved away from the grid sphere system and back to a traditional experience leveling. However, the characters switched classes by changing into various dresses, which had unlockable abilities by gaining ability points or AP from battles. This game's ratings were a bit under its predecessor, but they were still very good. This remaster edition added, of course, high definition in 1080p. It also added some musical revisions, so it sounds nice. There's additional content from those international versions, which was previously released in Japan only, which I mentioned earlier. So, for instance, in X, or 10, you now have the added Expert Sphere grid, as well as many new bosses. And in X2, there's some extra dress spheres and minigames, as well as an extra dungeon. They also include the Eternal Calm movie, which bridges the gap between the two games. The only thing I'm not looking forward to is doing the Lightning Dodger quest in the Thunder Plains consecutively 200 times again, like I did the first time in X. And it was the reason I haven't played X after I beat it. I didn't play it again because of that, which is awful. So we'll see. Next up is Tales of Symphonia Chronicles. So this includes both the first game and its second sequel. And this one I picked up for only 13 bucks. The original Tales of Symphonia came out on the GameCube in Japan in 2003 and in North America in 2004. And its sequel, The Dawn of the New World, came out on the Wii in Japan June 2008 and North America in November 2008. And since I haven't owned a GameCube or a Wii, I haven't had a chance to play these games. So luckily, the PS3 version that I have here now, the Chronicles, came out 2013 in Japan and 2014 in North America. So now I can give it a shot. Tales of Symphonia is the fifth in the core Tales series. The story goes that the main protagonist Lloyd and his friends set out on a journey to replenish their world with mana. Their trek takes them to 5 temples which must be unsealed. Part of the way through the story, the party is betrayed and they leave their world to visit another in a parallel world in hopes to save both worlds. Navigation in this game takes place on a 3D overworld map, either on foot, on the party's pet, or on flying vehicles. The battle screen is a 3D representation of the current area. The game includes animated character portraits and some decision-making / dialogue choices that could affect the story. This action RPG uses a multi-line linear motion battle system. How it works is 4 of your characters are chosen to battle, and those not controlled by the player will use the player's preset AI instructions to guide them. As you damage the enemy, you fill up a unison gauge, and when this is filled up, you can use a unison attack and have the party use their techniques simultaneously on the single enemy. Some technique combos lead to special attacks for additional damage. You can also cook food after battles, which gives benefits such as healing. There's a skill system which allows the character to equip various X gems to learn techniques and spells. There is also a new Game Plus mode. Tales of Symphonia was a huge success. It spawned off a whole franchise with manga, novels, CDs, and OVAs, as well as its sequel. In Dawn of the New World, the story takes place 2 years after the first story of Tales of Symphonia. The world is now in chaos and everything has been changed and reformed. The protagonist, Emil, meets and helps protect Marta, who is being hunted by the Vanguard. In doing so, he comes in contact with a Centurion spirit who tells him that balance can be returned to the world if the other Centurion spirits are awoken. And so your path is one of world restoration with some good old revenge tossed in. This game uses the Flex Range Elemental Enhanced Linear Motion Battle System. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Which, if you've played Tales of Abyss or Tales of Destiny, you would find this to be a merger of both of those battle systems. Part of this has to do with the elemental grid and how each monster, location, and skill has an elemental attribute. This game also adds a new feature to capture, evolve, and level up monsters to fight alongside you. This is also achieved through the elemental grids, and you can have up to 4 monsters in your party at a time while storing others away. Overall, Dawn of the New World's reviews weren't as great as the first Tales of Symphonia, but they were pretty decent. So looking forward to that one. And the last guy I picked up here, Valkyria Chronicles. I got this for $7. This was released in Japan in April 2008 and in North America in November 2008. It was also released on the PC, PS4, and Switch. This game is a tactical RPG. The graphics look similar to a pencil drawing and uses Sega's Canvas graphics engine. The battles are fought using a turn-based system called Blitz, or Battle of Live Tactical Zones. Your turn begins with an overhead view of the map, where you then zoom in to take control of an individual unit on the battlefield. You then enter action mode, where movements and actions happen in real time and use up action points. During the target mode, actions freeze while you control the character's aim and try to get like a headshot, things like that. There are over 50 various characters, which have their own unit roles. These roles work in a rock, paper, scissors style dynamic with varying strengths and weaknesses. The game is loosely based on Europe during the early parts of World War II. The two world's superpowers, Eastern European Alliance and the Atlantic Federation, are at war. The Eastern European Alliance has its recent targets on your neutral nation of Gallia because of your abundance of Ragnarok ore deposits. And so you play as a commander who is just trying to defend your nation from the opposing army. This game had great reviews and ratings, so I'm really looking forward to playing it. Really like a tactical RPG every now and then. Well, as usual, let me know if you've played any of these games, if you like them, love them, dislike them. Funny things happen, especially with, having to dodge lightning and stuff. Any fun stories you want to talk about. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And as always, peace, love, and cheese.